Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
I think that the greatest argument that studios should pay their actors and give them a good contract is Big Brother 25. Like, if you want an argument why you need real TV, Big Brother 25.
Guess what, Matt? We're gonna get more.
We're gonna get more in the winter because they still want to do this AI bullshit with their last and final tier, their best and final offer. No, it wasn't. You're still being shitty. You don't have a product. If you don't have actors, you need to give them what they want.
I do think it's very funny that it feels like Hollywood is trying to move forward now that the writer strike is over, but like the actor strike is still very much happening.
Yep.
And no one's talking about it, it feels like. I mean, granted, there's much more important shit going on in the world, free Palestine,
yes.
but like
free Palestine.
But like, you know, it's just weird to me that all of a sudden we have just forgotten that, like, oh yeah, like there's a whole other segment of the entertainment industry that is still on strike and still trying to get a good contract. Listen, please, son, because I need to return to like 70-day seasons of Big Brother. Like, please.
It's 70 to 80 days. That's enough. Even 80 is like pushing it.
That might be that might be pushing it at this point.
Like 2 months and change. That's all you need.
Yeah, there is, so shifting to gears to talking about Big Brother for a second. There is a rumor that the holiday season, because they're actually that was Julie Chen's words. I'm sorry, Julie Chen Movement's words was that it was going to be a holiday edition of Big Brother, and apparently it's going to. There's a rumor that it might be 2 weeks long.
You know what? Perfect. Perfect. That sounds, Chris, you have no idea. That sounds fantastic.
It does, but I'm just like,
competition every day. Yes, give it to me.
It does sound perfect, but that just seems like an amazing course correct. That is an incredible course correct. Oh, you want shorter seasons? We're gonna subtract 86 from 100.
14-day season. Wait, maybe not that much.
Yeah.
No. All for it. Give it to me.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I think if they do it, I'm fascinated and I want to watch it because I'm just like, I'm curious how that ends up going.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. That's just a rumor. It could just be another Celebrity Edition season, and that would hurt me, but that's fine. Anyways, welcome everyone. It's the week 10 edition of the Virtual Ball Boys podcast, which means it's our mid-season special.
Yes.
So we're going to do our usual recap, and then we're going to dive into our thoughts on the season and go redo our earlier predictions that we made before the start of it all.
Yep.
And then, of course, we'll close things out with our week 10 picks. So let's start off with the game of the week. And look, we went into this weekend on the ticket. You had Chiefs Dolphins, you had Eagles Cowboys, you had Bengals Bills, you had Seahawks Ravens. But the marquee game, and the one that should be talked about by everyone, including ourselves here, is our game of the year. Buccaneers at Texans. A game that is a very early good sign for the Texans that they have struck gold. Not that he has not played well the whole season. Of course, CJ Stroud has been a great quarterback for this team.
Mm-hmm.
But to have 40 seconds on the clock, no timeouts, have the Buccaneers go up by 4 points, and with that amount of time, still march down the field and throw a dime into the end zone to get the touchdown and get the victory was incredible. And that was after just a back and forth game in general. It was a very offensive heavy game where the Bucks defense, which has been maybe like the stronger of its two units, had been like maybe like a strength for that team, and they were just getting torn apart by what the Texans had to offer. And man, a really, really good week. And also an interesting kicker situations, if you want to talk about it, Matt.
Yeah, Kaimi Fairburn went out with a quad injury. So one of their backup running backs, Dare Gumbawale, was the backup kicker. Not the punter.
Yeah.
The running back, including a 29-yard field goal attempt in the fourth quarter. That helped give them the lead and help them get in a position to win, which is just silly. And the game ended with a scoregami, so like that's also like notable.
Yeah.
Whenever like a game of the week ends in a scoregami, 39-37 has never happened before. Like you gotta celebrate.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was just an incredible game to witness, at least from somewhat of a distance, since I was watching Red Zone. I didn't get to watch all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, 470 yards from CJ Stroud, 5 touchdowns, and just that is a unit that is playing very well right now, that Texans offense. And I think it's going to be interesting. We're going to talk about it. I'm curious where you're at with how your playoff standings look right now, because the Texans, I really do think, could go on a bit of a run if CJ Stroud continues to play like this. I think it's going to be a tight race between them and the Jags. And Jags, of course, haven't lost a game in a bit.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It'll be close.
I think so. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I like when two teams that seemingly are kind of irrelevant to the season, that they're not expected to make the Super Bowl, let alone or make this playoffs, let alone make the Super Bowl. But I just this was a delight for the eyes, and not at all expected when we saw the list of games this week. Speaking of the list of games this week that we thought was gonna maybe live up to some sort of expectations, the blowout of the week certainly was a letdown, especially if you're a Seahawks fan. 37-3 was your final score. The Ravens just destroyed the Seahawks thoroughly. It was even with a scoreless first quarter, nothing could have prepared. It was not even close for the Seahawks.
No, it wasn't. It was really it was a smattering. That's the best way that you can put it. I don't know how Lamar Jackson is having such an amazing season and only getting 11 fantasy points every game, but that's just me. Don't know how that maths out, but
sure.
The Ravens are really proving themselves. I had mentioned that they are that curse the jinx of the Ravens are 17-1, and now I think 18-1 against NFC opponents, or Lamar is at least, and that this could maybe get broken, and it didn't. And he's really good. The Ravens are a really good team.
The Ravens are a very, very good team. It feels like in a year that has had a lot of weird offensive performances overall. Like we've had the Dolphins be very wild, and you have the Ravens here. Like it's been kind of a rough year for offenses. Generally, the ones that we think were going to be super high flying, like the Eagles and the Chiefs, just haven't really been that. It's been a very much more of a defensive year. The Ravens are a bit of both. They're playing very good on offense, but they're also having a very, very good defensive year as well. It's intimidating. If you are, especially if you're in the AFC North looking to try to Like all the AFC North teams are good for the most part. And it's now you're all trying to compete with each other. But Ravens right now just kind of look like a little bit of a step in front of everyone, just for the time being. We'll see if that kind of stays, because I feel like last year or the year before that, and like it always feels like the Ravens start to get really, really hot, and then all of a sudden like injuries plague them, and then they just fall apart as the season goes. Yeah, just kind of hope that this time it's not going to be the same story. Hopefully, I think sticks around.
I think it's usually that the Ravens start hot, like right away hot,
sure,
and then peter out. This is mid-season where they're like dominating.
Yeah.
So I think that this delayed maybe will help them a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. That's the hope anyway. So there's that, and then the chaos of the week. This is a rare week where there really wasn't a chaos. We obviously picked our team chaoses, and that's kind of where I'm going to dig into.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't like a major upset. I wanted to shout out Josh Dobbs though.
Yes.
Because the Vikings.
Oh my God.
Which were my chaos, but like it's a close game. It was going to be a tight game anyway. But Josh Dobbs came off the bench after Jaron Hall went out and was in the concussion protocol. Josh Dobbs came in and he played incredibly well. And another situation where the Falcons were up by 4 points, and it felt like there really was not a whole lot of time to get down the field, and Josh Dobbs just did it. The Vikings just figured it out, and they absolutely crushed it. It was an incredibly fun performance, and Matt, you were telling me, like, it kind of feels like Josh Dobbs is going to start to become like a folklore type guy, like one that you kind of
a Fitzpatrick or a McCown or that type. The only difference is that Fitzpatrick often spent 1 or 2 years with the team. Josh has spent maybe 1 or 2 games with the team,
right,
before moving on. So
that's the thing. Like, I feel bad for him and his family having to like move around the country constantly, because like you're constantly trying to you're on the move. Like, he never even got a chance to play for Cleveland before he got traded to Arizona, and then mid-season having to go from Arizona to Minnesota, like literally run from south to north of the United States. Like, it's just that's a lot to deal with. I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure they figure it out. I mean, clearly he's fine. But hey, it is an incredible story that he could just be your emergency quarterback, and he delivers in some capacity. It's been a lot of fun to watch him evolve and keep playing. Because I remember when he was on like the Steelers, I think that was his first team, and he was not very good on the Steelers.
Yep.
And he's been bouncing around ever since. So very cool. All right, let's do our mid-season stuff. Usually we take the time to like kind of go through each division. I don't know if we'll go deep on that. I'll just ask you, Matt, like right now when you think about the NFC, who do you think are like the big time contenders coming out of this division, that conference right now?
So I think that there's 2 clear tiers, and I think that there are only 5 teams. I think that the top ones are still are Philly and still San Francisco, despite the slide.
Mm-hmm.
They are the clear, like, for sure favorites. And then I think there's a second tier of Detroit, Dallas, and Seattle.
Right.
That, like, you know, if something goes wrong with Philly or San Francisco, that they could sneak into the more top spot. But it's crazy. Yeah,
it is a, like, I think when you look at like the NFC East, it's really going to be the Eagles and Cowboys. Not obviously not. The Commanders are scaring me a bit. Like, I feel like sometimes they have like these like really good Sam Howell games, and I'm like, God, what if he just ends up carrying this team to a playoff berth, that's going to be annoying because it's that kind of, again, with how weak the NFC has been for quite a few years now. It's just kind of that situation where if you just kind of get like a little bit of spark, like you can kind of get in there. But
do you think Eric Bieniemy is coaching his way into the head coaching job?
He could. I mean,
yeah.
because I think right now, I think that team is looking towards the future. I think that was clear with how they traded Young and Sweat, Young and Sweaty, as it were. But like, I think that they're not looking at holding on to Ron Rivera going into next year. I don't think that they are. I don't think that. I think they're probably clean house, but I would think that if they are happy with how the offense is running, that they may look to Bieniemy and be like, hey, let's give you a shot, like as like the first head coach since the owners took over, like the first one that they hire. Like, yeah, if they just want to stick with the guy that they already know, yeah. It could absolutely happen. The NFC North, I think, feels the safest, weirdly, of the divisions, just because of the Lions having been playing really well and the rest of the teams kind of faltering. That being said, if
Vikings are being a little friskier, I think.
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
Even with Kirk going down, like we can see Dobbs going, and the rest of the team around them with Jefferson coming back should be solid.
Yeah.
And the Packers and Bears are in the basement. Packers and Bears aren't doing shit.
Yeah, right. Like that's the thing. I think the Vikings are going to be, like, if any one team is going to threaten Lions right now, it would be them. I don't think that's going to happen, and I think that mainly has to do with how both the Vikings and the Lions have relatively easy schedules the rest of the way.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like, you never know, there could be stumbling blocks here and there, and maybe things do get tight near the end. The Vikings and Lions do face each other in week 15 and 17. It's one of those divisional, or I think week 16 and 18. Like you're talking, like, that whole series gets played within the last 3 weeks of the season is kind of nuts. I want to say it's week 16, 18 or whatever, but so we won't know like who, like we won't get to see that matchup. But right now it looks like the Lions division to lose. And then I think the West with 49ers, like I was worried that, like, all right, well, it feels like the 49ers are starting to slip. Maybe not worried is not the right word, because I wouldn't mind if the Seahawks won the division, but it was like it just felt like, oh man, like this could be like the Seahawks division to potentially win. But I have not enjoyed the way the Seahawks have played football as of late. I'm not even just talking about the Ravens game. Like, Gino's had a rough go of it. He's been turning over the ball every single game, and it's been kind of just kind of messy trying to get some of these wins that they have had to get. So I'm no longer worried about San Francisco. They do face the Jaguars this week, so if they do lose in that game, then that will be their 4th straight loss, which is nuts. But it would just be really surprising if they really bottom out and the Seahawks sneak in, for me anyway. But then you have the NFC South.
NFC South isn't a real football conference.
Do we still think that this division is going to have a chance to have 2 teams? Do you think it's possible
in the playoffs?
Yeah.
It depends on how much Arthur Smith gets his head out of his ass. Because I think the Bucks and Panthers are probably out of it. I don't see a path for the Bucks right now.
Yeah.
But the Saints are weird, but the Falcons, they're all close is the thing. Like, Saints and Falcons are both close.
Yeah.
To the wild card spot anyway. But I mean, like, you cannot. I'm going to rant about the Falcons a lot and continue to rant about them. But, like, you cannot be such a dick towards fantasy players and think that you're smarter and better at them, and then have your fucking tight end get a goal line carry instead of the man that you use the number 8 pick on, and instead that man you use the number 8 pick on overall pick on is just on the bench doing nothing, and he can be better use someone else, he says. He should have kept the mustache. Fuck Arthur Smith. Yeah, I believe that this is where the Falcons have a much harder schedule ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
Still a good number of games, and now that I'm looking at it, they really don't have a hard schedule ahead of them.
Oh, okay.
Cardinals, Saints, Jets, Buccaneers, Panthers, Colts, Bears, Saints.
Yeah. That's my thing, is that I feel like the NFC South, even going into this year, had an easier schedule.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the downside, is that it's now kind of, we're now in the reality that despite this division being ass, the conference as a whole,
because the conference is also ass.
Yeah, that you could see us sneak in.
I don't know. I think this is a good argument for maybe we should do 6 playoff teams in the NFC and 8 in the AFC.
Oh, I was gonna make the argument, like, let's just go divisionalist, like keep the divisions for like scheduling games, but like don't just go off of actual good records.
There you go.
You can see. I think that's how NBA does it or whatever. It just see the best.
They still do East and West, but
right, exactly. And they still have divisions too in the NBA, but I don't think they even go off of that when it comes to seeding.
Probably not.
Just get rid of it. You don't need it. So with all that said, Matt, what is your NFC 7 seeds?
All right. Number 1 seed, Philadelphia. Number 2 seed, Detroit Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, San Francisco 49ers. I almost went Seattle here. It was really tempting. I decided to stay with 49ers. Number 4, New Orleans. Those are the 4 division winners. I do think the Saints, while not a good team nor an exciting team, will end up winning. Number 5, Seattle. Number 6, Dallas. Number 7, Josh Dobbs and the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. So, you said the Saints for your number 4?
Saints for 4, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, we have the same exact order for the first 4 seeds, at least. The Eagles, Lions, 49ers, Saints. I'm with you.
Yep.
I have 5 Cowboys, 6 Vikings, 7 Seahawks.
All right, cool. You think the Seahawks are going to lose that many?
They have a really hard schedule.
They do.
Just kind of taking a peek here. They do
49ers
have
twice, Cowboys, Eagles.
Yeah, they have it easier in the next few weeks with Commanders, Rams, but yeah, it's two 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles. Then they have a tough defense to face in Steelers.
Still all the same wild cards though. We're all on the same page.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think it's just barely gonna. I got scared because when I was running through this scenario, because I brought them up. The number 8 seed, I think, in this situation was Washington. Like I got close there, but it was gonna. I kind of made sure to not include any of the other NFC South teams because I don't believe in them overall.
No.
All right, AFC. It is definitely not looking as crowded as it did, and when I mean by that, I feel like we really thought that you were going to have like a ton of amazing teams in this conference, and I think generally speaking you do have like a couple that have been really, really great, but I think overall everyone in this conference is beatable. There's clear weaknesses, I think, with all of these teams, and I don't think that the playoff picture is that. I think there's going to be. I think we'll probably have differences, but I think going into this year, I really felt like it was completely up in the air. I feel like now that we are 9 weeks through, I feel like we're kind of I think we have a better idea of who is really gonna have a good time and make it in, or have a chance of making it in, and who is just at the bottom. And I think some of those teams that we thought were going to make it in going into the year are out of it. But for me, it's the Jets. Like, there's no, I don't see a chance for them at this point.
As much as they're trying to hype up Rodgers and coming back from his Achilles, I don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah, I feel like,
and even then, like, what's he gonna do
behind that offensive line? Yeah. Like, there's not a chance. Yeah, it's
rip Cam Akers, but tear his other Achilles. Like,
yeah,
Aaron.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've given up hope for this. It sucks because they have a great defense. They play so well, but it reminds me so much of what the Steelers have to deal with. But, like, I think the Steelers, or at least, are kind of finding some competencies on offense. There's just nothing going on for the Jets. There's just nothing going on for them. Yeah. I'm kind of stunned that through 9 weeks, the 16 seed in the AFC is the New England Patriots. I thought they were going to be, like, okay, and I think they were not going to make the playoffs, but yeah, to be sitting at the very bottom of the conference, I was a little surprised about.
Yeah. I agree with pretty much all of your assessment. The AFC North, if the playoffs started today, the entire AFC North would be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's wild. Yeah. I think, we have all stated in great deal about our unhappiness with the Browns, but you can't deny how good that defense has been.
Nope.
It's been so much fun to watch on that front. And I think that they do have a good shot at making it if they just keep on playing that well, because they don't need the offense to really do a whole lot. They can just have Deshaun Watson be who he is at this point, which is not a good quarterback, but like just do basic stuff to at least kind of progress forward, and then the defense is going to take care of business. It's kind of a similar situation with the Steelers, although even like I think that maybe their offense has a little less hope, but even with that, like, TJ Watt's had a really, really good year, and so has I'm always gonna forget. There's another Steeler player on there that's been playing out of his mind. I just always forget his name because he's just kind of, I think, Highsmith. Is that who it is? I don't know. But anyways, the thing that's gonna hurt both of them though is that they're in the same division with the Ravens and Bengals, who I feel like Ravens we've talked about already.
And these, like, the problem is, I don't think that all four of these teams are going to make it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, and they play each other a bunch down the stretch.
Yeah.
They're going to cannibalize each other's wins.
Right. That's the thing. And I think the Bengals have shown the most turnaround since what they were in the beginning of the season. It seems like they're really back on track. And I have a lot of hope for them moving forward. I do think the Ravens, though, are the best team in this division, just how well everything has looked. Again, like, when I think about it, just fundamentally, when you're looking at this entire league right now, I don't think any team is as well balanced right now as the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens, I think the Ravens are just in that position right now. They're doing really, really well. And then when you look at, like, the Chiefs, like, they are having a lot of issues. Their offense is not explosive, and they did let the Dolphins get back in that game.
They did. Their defense is kind of what's helping them.
Yeah.
Not fall apart, but it's definitely like this is easily the worst that we've ever seen Mahomes play.
100%. That the explosion is definitely the explosion of what this offense used to be like a couple of years ago. It's just not there right now, and a lot of that has to do with not having a major receiver there. I mean, yes, you have Travis Kelce, but him alone.
But unless Taylor's there, he doesn't play well, right? That's the narrative.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Remy agrees.
But I still think the Chiefs are going to be fine because I think they're in a division where you're in a division with three teams that are just mistake filled. Like,
Yep.
as talented as the Chargers are, like, they should have easily put that game away. And yes, the Jets defense has a little bit of a reason why that they were struggling. But man, like, I just feel like the Chargers just keep letting the door open for people just to just screw them over, because that's what the Chargers have always done.
Yep.
You have the mess that is the Raiders, which, by the way, let's just kind of pause here and just talk about Josh McDaniels for a second. The story that came from Jay Glazer at Fox of the fact that the players were like just loading into him and just completely like letting him have it, and how terrible of a coach he is. He refused to speak. He let Antonio Pierce speak for him, and Antonio Pierce gave a very inspirational speech that cited the 2007 Giants on their road to beating the undefeated Patriots and having the mindset of like, oh, we can beat anybody. And the fact that the players loved that, and then when the players left the room, Josh McDaniels came up to him and be like, never talk about the Patriots that way again. Like,
it is just... like the most, like, I said this to you, it is just the most loser talk that I've ever seen. The reason why the Patriot way was a thing was because Tom Brady played the single most incredible football, and the single greatest anyone has ever done at a team sport for a really long time. Yeah. And that's why the Patriot way was a thing. It had nothing to do with the culture. It was that Tom Brady was a really good football player.
Yeah, it's even just the fact, like, dude, let it go. Like, it's like, it was fucking 15 years ago, and you have to understand from Pierce's perspective, he was a linebacker on that team, and he loved it. He loved being a part of that, because what an amazing story that it was for the Giants to be a 6th seed and then win that Super Bowl and beat an undefeated team. Like, that was like. And he wanted to inspire players, and he did just that. That's why he's gotten the head coaching job for the time being. Like,
no, don't talk about the Patriots,
right? Because it will offend me, like offend my former overlord Bill Belichick. Like, no, like, get over
fucking
yourself,
snowflake.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like, I know I hate that we're using those terms, but you know what I mean.
No,
like,
I agree. It is so funny.
It's so fitting,
the
though.
Word snowflake
it's
to
so,
describe these people.
It's so fitting, though, for him, though. It is absolutely fitting for him to be a snowflake. Anyways, but like the Raiders, they do have talent, and we've been saying that for a while. Like, the Raiders do have a lot of talent on this roster. It's just they had Josh McDaniels holding the back. Maybe you do get like this rise from the Raiders, but I don't see that happening in such a quick turnaround. And I think they got what they could in their just dominance over the Giants, but it was the Giants, and that's a whole other mess. So, like, I don't know. Like, we'll see. And then of course you have Sean Payton, the Broncos, which we didn't have anything to make fun of him this week because they were on bye, but you know, it's been up and down for them. I mean, granted, they are coming off of having beaten the Chiefs the week before, but I don't know. I like, the Chiefs are fine. And I don't think any of those other teams are really. I mean, unless I think maybe the Chargers would have a chance at making the playoffs. I don't really see any of the others. Yeah. Like we mentioned, the AFC South is interesting in the fact that, like, I think you got the Jags, who are playing well. Had another team that had like a rough start and then has turned it around and are on a 5-game winning streak, I want to say.
Yeah.
So
5-game.
So they're doing really well, and I think the only team that they really, really have to worry about right now is the Texans because of how well CJ Stroud's playing. And I think that whole race is going to be fascinating. And then you go to the AFC East, and has it been disappointing?
A little bit, yeah. Because even we wanted this division to be fantastic. The Bills have not lived up to potential, and they're not in the playoffs currently. Yeah. And the Dolphins, like, their whole narrative is that they can't win against good teams. They fucking demolish losing teams, but they haven't beaten a winning team yet. So,
right.
That whole narrative is going to be probably exhausting by the time the season's done, but still one that we kind of need to pay attention to.
Yeah, and they remind me of, like, I don't know, we've kind of talked about, like it's kind of Cowboys-esque. Like, it's not like Cowboys do have their moments, but Like, especially when it comes into like the big moments, like, yeah, they typically have let people down, and it feels like the Dolphins are kind of trending in that direction. They have a pretty easy stretch over the next couple of weeks. They do have to face the Jets defense twice, and maybe the Jets get one on them on that front, but they do have the Raiders, Commanders, Titans as well. The Cowboys on Christmas Eve is really their next big game, and then that week after that is a massive game on New Year's Eve against the Ravens. So, yeah, I mean, just keep on racking up the wins. You're gonna need it. Like, you're gonna need it if you want to stay ahead in this division. And then, the Bills have been such a bummer. It really feels different. It feels like it's not going to come around for them. Maybe it will. Maybe things will turn around for them, but it's been tough this season.
Yep.
Matt, would you want you to reveal?
You start this time.
All right. I'll reveal my seven seeds of the AFC. Number 1, the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs.
All right.
Number 3, the Houston Texans.
Oh my God.
And number 4, Miami Dolphins.
Holy shit, you are. I respect it. I love the bravado.
Yeah. I think it's when you look at the schedules for the Jags versus the Texans, the only difference, at least for me, is like they got a lot more difficult opponents left. Like, Jags have the Niners this week. They also have the Bengals, the Browns, and the Ravens still on their schedule.
Yeah.
They do have to face the Texans again at some point.
Texans don't have as many.
Yeah, Texans don't have as much roadblocks moving forward.
Yeah. No, I can see it.
And so that's kind of where I'm at. Dolphins being a 4 seed really just comes down to, I think that there will be enough, like, if they keep on falling off of expectations, and like they're not like going up, especially if they're going up against difficult defenses, and if their offense just slows down because of that, like, I could just see them getting knocked down further and further, and that's why I think they'll be a 4 seed. But I still think they win the division, and that's something they haven't done in a while. So it would still be an achievement for them, albeit not really where they probably would like to be, considering how things started. And number 5 seeds the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 6, Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 7, Buffalo Bills. That's my 7.
All right.
What about you?
I love the idea of the Texans in the playoffs. I do not have them in the playoffs.
Okay, fair enough.
I think that you know, like, there's still gonna be some inconsistencies, and I still think that they a growing defense.
Sure, absolutely
played phenomenal against the Bucs, but it maybe not be. I don't see it as super consistent this year. We'll see about next year.
No, 100%. I get that.
Number 1, number 2, the Ravens and the Chiefs. Same as you.
Yep.
Number 3, I did have Miami.
Okay.
Number 4, Jacksonville. I feel like I'm a little bit more chalk on that, but I will take it.
That's fine. Yeah.
Number 5, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
Number 6, Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
Really good defense, and I looked at their schedule, and I think they can pull it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think the Bills just barely sneak in with 7.
You and I are on the same page on that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I think Cleveland has a very good shot. I think that there is, like, I think of the teams that we didn't, the team that neither of us have had, I think the Steelers might have a chance too. Like, I think if their defense keeps on getting better, which as the season goes, that usually does happen. Steelers also usually have a winning record at the end. Whether that's enough to make the playoffs, we'll see. But that's just kind of where I think about, like, the culture of the Steelers and what they have usually done. Like, I could see them being like a sneaky team to get in there as well. So I think though, I'm also a little surprised that neither of us had the Chargers, but
I'm not. I want Steely to get fired, so.
Well, that's the thing. It's just kind of like, I think you kind of have to see what's happening with this Chargers team and be like, as much as you want to have faith in Herbert being able to kind of carry this team forward, I think there's just too many issues to really make it seem like a feasible thing. But who knows? I guess wilder things have happened.
Yep.
All right. Well, there you go. Let's do our award predictions before we do the Super Bowl. Let's start with Offensive Player of the Year. Matt, how about you go first?
I'm really conflicted. I originally wanted to predict, be ballsy and predict this player for MVP. But I think he will end up like this. I will give Mr. McCaffrey Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, fair enough. I gave AJ Brown the honor.
That the very clear second choice, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's not. It's been, like I said, a weird year for offenses, but there's been quite a few stars that have stood out. I feel like AJ Brown's definitely in that conversation.
Yes.
Some explosive games that he's had thus far. For my Defensive Player of the Year, I went with Myles Garrett.
I think if Cleveland makes the playoffs and is is at least in the playoff conversation by the end of the year, it's because of Myles Garrett. I'm choosing him as well.
Yeah, there you go. What about your offensive rookie?
Boy, am I glad that I drafted him in Dynasty. CJ Stroud, I think, will pull it out at the end.
Yeah, I think I was expecting to go. Like a couple weeks ago, I was thinking like, oh, what if I get we get Puka Nacua in here for odds of rookie? But I think after this week's performance, I don't think there's going to be a question. I mean, unless he completely drops off, but I doubt that's going to happen.
No, I don't think so either. He's shown a lot of good stuff. Has more touchdown. I texted you this. I texted multiple. Or I don't know if I texted you this. Did I text you C.J. Stroud's touchdown total?
You're gonna have to state the whole thing again.
So C.J. Stroud has 14 touchdown passes.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Pickett has 13 touchdown passes.
Okay, yeah, you did text
career.
Me that. I think so. Yeah, yeah,
which is nuts.
Yeah, it's wild. But that's again shows that he's been a good pick for them.
What about your droy?
My droy is Devin Witherspoon.
ILL.
Yeah.
I also chose Devin Witherspoon. I had a preseason. I have him now. Oh my god, is he a fun player to watch? Jesus Christ.
I feel like has anyone else stood out? I feel like he's the only one that to me has done enough this year. At least
Will Anderson a little bit.
Maybe. Yeah.
Let me look at who the betting odds are right now. Brian Branch.
Oh, that's right.
Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter too.
Okay, yeah, but I still think Devin Witherspoon's the clear.
Yeah. Actually, Jalen Carter is the betting favorite currently.
Oh, he is really.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely played well. I feel like I've been hearing more about Devin Witherspoon though.
It's because everybody plays well on Philly's defense, so he doesn't stand out as much. Where Seahawks have a good defense, but Devin Witherspoon is making more flashy plays.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. What about your Coach of the Year?
I'm gonna keep with preseason. I'm gonna say Dan Campbell.
I have converted. I have to convert.
You have to. I would end this podcast if you kept with.
No, it's that dream died.
You've converted to Brandon Staley.
Yeah, right. No, I went to Dan Campbell as well.
Awesome.
Because I do think the Lions being a 2 seed I think especially would be like, oh, that's a Coach of the Year material right there. That would be wild. I did write down comeback. Here's the thing. What is the betting? Is there even betting odds on comeback player of the year? Because we had the conversation after the fact that it does feel like it's probably gonna go to DeMar Hamlin. He did play in a couple of games this year, although most of the time he has been inactive. So there's a chance that because of how much he's been inactive, that he is not in that conversation. But I don't know, man. I feel like there's
DeMar's still the clear betting favorite. Tua and Lamar are beyond that. Josh Dobbs is currently the fourth place right now.
I mean that would be an interesting story, but obviously no comeback is as good as DeMar Hamlin.
No. The fact that DeMar is alive and has played games is
just a miracle. It's great.
Yeah.
So there we go. Who wants to be the one to draw the Super Bowl pick for?
I will do it.
All right, go ahead.
All right. I feel very ballsy saying this, but I would maybe want maybe a few more weeks of this. But we got 3 in a row of just absolute pure domination. They feel like the most complete team in the league right now. And this is a team that I really like to root for and want to see them succeed. And this could be the year. So why not choose the Baltimore Ravens for the AFC?
Okay.
I'm choosing them. I think I would love my ideal would be a Baltimore-Cincinnati AFC championship.
Yeah.
Which I know that's 3 years in a row of Cincinnati being there, but
that's fine. I mean, it's I don't know. Cincinnati is fun.
I like the Bengals.
Yeah.
And then the NFC, this was really hard, but I do think that they will overcome this road bump. I'm gonna do a Super Bowl rematch: Baltimore Ravens versus San Francisco 49ers.
Who's your win pick?
Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson gets a Super Bowl win.
All right, there you go.
It was hard. It was hard. I think I had San Francisco preseason.
Sure.
Yeah, this was a difficult one, but I'm gonna go with the Ravens at this point. It's hard though. Like again, it's like any team but the Chiefs winning this year is phenomenal in my book.
Yeah, 100%. I think as long as we have to keep things fresh, and I think anything that can.
You look at the baseball. The world past few World Series, and it's been a different fucking team every year.
Yeah,
for a really long time,
yeah.
And I really like that. Unless and even if you like, especially if you don't count 2017 Houston, then it feels even longer.
Right, there you go. That's how you do it. Preseason, I picked the Bengals to win the Super Bowl, and it definitely felt like I'm that it was going to be easy for me to back out of that once it just felt like the Bengals were not going to reawaken in any capacity. But then they started to, and it's been really good. It's been really fun to watch them play, and I think as much as I have been touting this podcast about how I think the Ravens are the most complete team, I'm still going to say that the Bengals, I feel like I trust more in the postseason than the Ravens. Like, I feel like the Ravens will get 1 seed, and like I said, I have them at my 1 seed, but I think that the Bengals will be that team to kind of potentially knock off the Ravens in the playoffs and then make the run to the Super Bowl. And listen, we've talked about Cat Bowl for many years, and it was the Bengals and Panthers that was the initial idea. Obviously, Panthers are not even going to sniff the playoffs, but you know who is going to sniff the playoffs and potentially shock the world is the Lions. And so
oh my God,
am going Bengals versus Lions.
If that happens on my fucking birthday, it will be the greatest day ever.
And I'm gonna take Joe Burrow to get his first Super Bowl win as an NFL player.
I like it. Again, this season, like, this has not been like the best season of the NFL.
No,
but I am thrilled for any Super Bowl matchup that does not involve the Chiefs this year. Literally any matchup of the competing teams is an exciting one to me.
Yeah,
that does, as long as it's not the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, and I like Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. It's not like with that like it was years ago with the exhaustion that was the Patriots for me.
Yeah,
but it would just be like, let's get someone new. Let's have something new happen. With this. And granted, I know the Bengals were just in the Super Bowl the year before.
Right.
I don't know. Like, it's just the
Chiefs still a new winner.
Yeah.
But we're used to the Chiefs there.
Yeah, the Chiefs have been there 3 of the last 4 years. So let's have someone different, if it is the Bengals or another team from the AFC. Let's keep things fresh and interesting. All right, let's go to our picks for the week. Did we ever
say MVP?
Oh, we did not.
We did not.
Oh shit! All right, go. Based on what I just said, my MVP is Joe Burrow. Mine
is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I think that I think if Joe Burrow plays really well down the stretch and is shown to have like this really like just strong renaissance after having the rough start to the year, I think that him playing at his height come the end of December, beginning of January, I think would put him in that conversation. But I think probably the more likely thing would be a Lamar Jackson, considering he has played maybe better for longer this season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good stuff. All right, let's do our picks. The last week we had 7 disagreements, which I still don't know if that's a record, but that's a fuck ton of disagreements. And as expected, it was pretty even. It was pretty much split. And I ended up taking the victory 4-3 overall with the differences in picks. So I walked away from the week as a whole with a 10-4 pick record and getting 7 points. Matt, you went 9-5, 4 points. I also got my chaos, which is why I got the extra point to get to 7. And my guarantee in that sense. So the standings as they are right now, Matt, you're sitting at 80-56 with 23 points, and I'm sitting at 75-61 with 14 points. I did feel like I was going to make a little bit more ground early on in the week, but then the Patriots happened to me, and and then it kind of was all downhill from there. The Vikings, if the Vikings didn't have Josh Dobbs come in for a miracle play, it would have been a losing week for me. So just grateful for the little bits of coming back in this game, in this race that I could get at this point. Matt, tell me about Thursday Night Football this week.
These are my two favorite teams, Chris.
They are.
I'm not looking forward to this game at all, despite that fact.
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers 1-7 take on the Chicago Bears. The DJ Moore revenge game, the number 1 pick trade storyline happening here. Both teams in not great spots. Justin Fields is still day to day. I think that if this game were on Sunday, Justin Fields would play.
Yeah.
But since it's on Thursday, Tyson Bagent in once again.
Mm-hmm.
Will he be able to overcome the Panthers?
I think he could. I mean, minus the Chargers game, he has kind of been getting better overall.
A little bit.
I also think that Sweat had some nice plays in his debut for the Bears.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the Bears. I wanted to believe that the Panthers could do well this past week, but it's not getting there right now. The Panthers feel stinky.
This might be the last time that I can confidently pick the Bears, or at least feel pretty good about them. So I'm going to pick the Bears, but I almost picked the Panthers.
Yeah.
I'm still not a huge Bears supporter, but I do think they're better than the Panthers. And hey, either way, our pick in the draft goes up. So
right, exactly. It's kind of like the results of this game kind of almost are like net neutral. Weirdly. It's weird how that works.
The Bears will benefit either way.
Yeah. The Colts at the Patriots. Oh man, that's our slate is real good.
Football games. I honestly I saw a tweet that said that this might be the worst week of football ever.
After what was probably our better week of football.
I see 2 promising matchups.
Yeah.
The entire fucking week.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I'll keep myself busy playing video games or something instead. Anyways, Colts Patriots. That's in Germany. You know what? Maybe I'll say it. Maybe it might be a better game than the Chiefs Dolphins. Maybe. I don't know. It could happen. What do you think's gonna happen in this game?
I'm going to stick with the Colts. I think that New England is just going to continue getting more and more examples of why you need to move on from Belichick in this current system. Yeah. I think I'm not as low on Belichick as you are. At least it's not that I'm low on Belichick. It's just that I think that it's just stagnated.
It's lost. He's overstayed his welcome, I think.
Yeah.
I could totally back that. It's more of I still think that he's in the conversation of one of the best coaches ever.
Oh, of course.
But it's kind of over. I think he just needs to get. I need him in the broadcast booth. I feel like he would be fun in the broadcast booth. I don't think he needs to keep coaching at this point. But yes, I'm picking the Colts as well.
All right. Houston Texans versus the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, we got CJ Stroud on a rise. The Bengals being really having a lot of their pieces together. They're also playing very well. Do you think that Houston can, with your high playoff prediction, do you think that they will be able to take down the Bengals?
Yeah, this is a very sneaky good game right now.
It is. I
like
actually really like this, and I think that this is like this is the 10 minutes ago Chris putting his money where his mouth is game on both sides.
Right, that's the thing. Like, I feel like if this was the Chiefs, I would be tempted to really chaos the Texans at the moment. I'm gonna go Bengals. I had actually done these picks before I did my playoff predictions. I think this is gonna be a loss for the Texans, but I think if they win this game, I win either way, I guess. This is where it comes down to. If the Bengals win, well, that proves my point that I think they could make it to the Super Bowl still. If the Texans win, then they at least show that they're going to be a tough out from here on out.
Yeah. This win would put the Texans on the map, I think. That said, I'm picking the Bengals.
Yeah. Next up, the New Orleans Saints at the Minnesota Vikings. Whenever I see this matchup, I just think of the Minnesota Miracle, which I cannot believe is already like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It still feels like it just happened, and I that was still one of my favorite moments ever, in football. Like it's up there.
It's so good.
But anyways, both teams are very far away from that. And the Vikings, of course, are going to continue the ride with Josh Dobbs. I believe they said he's starting still. I forget if they've confirmed that for sure yet this week. The Saints, coming off of 2 wins in a row, I think, because I think they beat the Colts and then the Bears.
Yep.
Will it make it 3 in a row, Matt?
So something interesting, Chris.
Okay.
Is that I looked back, I was like, I usually don't write this team in this column very often, and I looked back last year, and I didn't have this team written down last year at all for Chaos or Guarantee, and I didn't check the year before. But I'm going to guarantee the Minnesota Vikings. Apparently, I've never had faith in this team ever.
I mean, I kind of get it, though.
I am loving the folk hero story of Josh Dobbs. The Vikings social media did post that his jersey is available for sale at the store, so he's got that covered.
Yeah, sure.
I really do think that, like, you know, with an actual week of practice, granted, I think the Saints are better than the Falcons are.
Oh,
but,
sure, yeah.
With an extra week of practice, I think Jefferson's coming, not this week, but maybe next week. So Jefferson won't be back yet. But I do think that Dobbs could be enough to get the Vikings a win, and I just want to be silly. So I'm going to guarantee the Vikings.
No, I like it. I really like the pick. I get why you had not guaranteed the Vikings before, because the Vikings are just always like this chaos agent where you just don't know what they're going to do. Yeah. But no, I mean, I think that this makes sense. I'm picking the Vikings as well, and I think the Saints are kind of like, I think, hey, you beat the Colts, good for you. You beat the Bears, good for you. Vikings, I think, are a little bit better than both of those teams.
Yeah.
So now beat the Vikings. All right, you have my attention.
Yeah, I think that they would, if they can show that they can beat a team like the Vikings. Maybe they're division contenders.
Yep.
Green Bay Packers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Packers coming off their win against a backup quarterback for the Rams. Nothing too impressive there versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, despite consistently having less yards of offense than their opponents, managed to win the football game.
And they have a winning record.
And they're 5-3 and in the playoffs. Do you think that the Pittsburgh Steelers will have less yards than the Packers, but still win?
I think the answer to both is yes.
I agree. Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers are going to win this.
Yep.
Next up, the Tennessee Titans at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Ryan Suckup Bowl.
Sure. It's been a bit. I don't think he's even on this team, either team anymore. But
he's not.
Yeah, it's been a while. You know what? My mind goes to Jameis Winston versus Marcus Mariota, and they're nowhere near any of these teams either. So you know what? We're both just riding on the past. Anyways, the Bucs are of course coming off of that shootout with the Texans, and of course on the losing end of it, the Titans had the Will Levis game the couple Sundays ago, and then kind of shut the bid against the Steelers a bit, but still have some hope with Will Levis at quarterback. What do you think's going to happen here?
I am going to give this one to the Titans. Actually, I kind of like Will Levis.
Sure.
I shat on him so much in the draft process, like in an extraordinary amount. But you know, he impressed me that first game, and I do think that he's got some chance. This game feels like a crapshoot. I'm picking the Titans just because.
Yeah, and I think to the same reasons in terms of it being a crapshoot, I'm picking the Buccaneers. Nothing. I'm really not going off of much. I think it's still having a little bit of hope in the defense for this Buccaneers team. I know it got torn apart by the Texans, but that was C.J. Stroud versus with Will Levis, and this group has not really played at the heights that the Texans offense has. So I think the Bucs can take care of business in this game. Yeah.
San Francisco 49ers take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the first of two games that I think will be fun to watch.
Yeah.
49ers obviously on a 3-game losing streak coming off of their bye, but the Jaguars also coming off of their bye on a 5-game win streak. I think this will be a good test for both teams, see if the 49ers still have it, and for the Jaguars to show that they can beat a really true contender team. Yeah. I don't think that a loss in this game is detrimental to either of them, but it looks bad for the 49ers if they lose.
I think that's my thing. Yeah. I think it would feel worse if you're the 49ers if you lose this game versus the Jaguars, where I think you're just like, okay, you finally your win streak ended, but it's not the end of the world. I think I'm leaning 49ers here. Just because I do think that after the bye, they now have Chase Young in the building, who I think will be a good addition for that defensive line, which had not played incredible outside of Nick Bosa for some time. I think that they're going to take care of business. It's a tough game though. The Jaguars haven't played well.
It is. I'm also going to pick the 49ers, but this would not be Jaguars winning would not be a surprise.
Yeah.
I could also see this also feels like the exact type of game where the 49ers come out and they fucking pancake the Jaguars.
That's the kind of why I'm picking the 49ers, because I'm just like, yeah. I can see that happening, unfortunately.
Yep. Now to the other game that I think is going to be good this week.
Yeah, Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Last time that these two teams faced, the Browns were kind of beaten badly by the Ravens. It was not a particularly close game, but the Ravens are really riding high, and lately when that's happened in this league, you get taken down a notch by an opponent that you don't necessarily think is going to beat you. So what do you think is going to happen in this game, Matt?
I'm going to pick the Ravens.
Yeah.
I just picked them to win the Super Bowl. To say that they would lose to the Browns immediately would be silly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I maybe not my most gutsy pick here, but I'm going to go with the Ravens in a guarantee situation.
I almost did a guarantee for the Ravens. They were like, oh yeah, the Ravens are a perfect guarantee candidate.
Yeah. Just because I'm I would be kind of surprised if everything kind of fell apart right now for the Ravens, but at the same time, like I said, it's just been the trend of the season where the team that feels like that at its hottest can sometimes get taken down a notch the week after, and so that's my only concern with this pick. But I'm sticking with my guarantee with the Ravens.
Alrighty. All right, next game we have the Atlanta Falcons versus the Arizona Cardinals. Atlanta Falcons, their head coach has lost his mustache. He has been embarrassed multiple times.
His mustache popped off and it ran away.
It ran away. His mustache doesn't want to be involved. Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray will be starting.
Wasn't it an episode of SpongeBob with that where he drew a mustache and it kind of like flew away like a bird? That's kind of
with a pencil.
That's why that picture with Arthur.
There was an episode of Toucan Birdie where Birdie's boob just jumped off her chest and went home. Was done with this shit.
I like that a lot. I am. It is such a tempting chaos because you do have the fact that Kyler Murray could be playing this week as a potential like haunting thing, and that could make this game more interesting. I just don't like anything else about this Cardinals team. Like after Josh Dobbs is gone, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, nothing about this.
Josh Dobbs, the only redeeming part of the Arizona Cardinals in 2023.
I mean, am I wrong?
You're not
am I wrong at this point? So it kills me because I'm kind of with you at this point where I don't like picking the Falcons, but I'm gonna pick the Falcons.
So 2 weeks ago, the Atlanta Falcons lost to debut quarterback Will Levis.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, the Falcons lost to debut for his team, Josh Dobbs.
I'm already putting you in for the chaos.
Yeah. And this week, the Arizona Cardinals are going to lose to the debut of Kyler Murray on Team Chaosing the Cardinals.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's
it's solely because of that pattern.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something.
And because Arthur Smith is gonna have a direct snap to Tyler Algier, who's gonna overthrow Jonnu Smith.
Sure.
For a touchdown, while Bijan is not in uniform. They actually didn't activate Bijan.
Right. He's just in sweats.
Scratch.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm like, the moment that I remembered that Kyler Murray was playing in this game, I'm like, fuck, this actually would have been a perfect chaos.
Counterpoint. Yeah. Call of Duty comes out this week.
Fuck, that's right. But wait, this one's gonna be bad. It's still gonna sell 100 million copies. So like, you're just kind of, it's over. Yeah, there you go. The Detroit Lions at the Los Angeles Chargers. I kind of like this game. I think
this might be fine.
Like if the Chargers do show up in some capacity, I think it will be a fun game. What do you think's gonna happen though?
I am very curious for this one, I think. And it's always weird, like whenever a team comes off bye that we're like really high on, like the Lions are a perfect example for this. It always feels harder to like fully buy into them and pick them, even though they consistently play super well. But it's like, it's been 2 weeks since I've seen them. I don't have object permanence.
Right.
I need to remember that the Lions are a good team and just pick the fucking Lions.
Yeah. What was their last? Yeah, their last game was against the Raiders, which it was the Raiders.
Yeah, it was the Raiders.
It was the last game with Josh McDaniels as coach. So I am picking the Lions pretty easily here. It wouldn't shock me if the Chargers won this because that would be what would happen. But I want to still have faith in this Lions team. I did have them as my second pick, as my second seed in the NFC. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. First time they met this season, the Cowboys embarrassed the Giants. Daniel Jones is out for the season. Tommy DeVito in line.
The most Italian name.
The most Italian man to ever play the sport.
Yeah.
Will the Giants be able to stand a chance moving the football? Can the Giants move the football?
Can it happen? Do they know how to throw a football?
Passing yards. Yeah, will they have negative passing yards again.
Do they know how football works at this point?
I saw a tweet that was like, Tommy DeVito was a 5-year college starter who led relatively successful offenses at both Syracuse and Illinois. He ended this game with like -7 passing yards. No, you could not complete a pass in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, the rare connection between two of our schools,
Yeah.
Illinois and
Tommy DeVito.
Syracuse. I can only claim Syracuse as even though I was an online grad and never stepped foot on campus. But anyways,
You should go someday. Make a pilgrimage.
I might do that. I thought about doing it when I graduated. I was like, oh, maybe I should go for the graduation. But I was like, nah. Yeah. I'm going Cowboys, by the way.
I'm also going Cowboys.
There you go.
Martavis Bryant, by the way, just signed with them.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Blast from the past.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. Why was he on the? He was on the exempt list for a while. What?
Probably.
That's such a fucking. I hate prudes. I hate prudes so much. I'm speaking as to like the league, not like I. If that was really what Brian was on the exempt list for, that's fucking sucks.
Let me look.
But anyways, I'll go ahead and talk about the Washington Commanders at the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks, of course, we were talking about. They were blown out, and the Commanders took care of business against the Patriots. Seahawks generally have been a decent team this year. They should take care of business against the Commanders team that has been up and down overall.
It was drugs.
Yep. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. Anyways, what do you think's gonna happen in Washington versus Seattle?
I think Seattle will bounce back.
Okay. I am gonna chaos the Commanders.
I respect it.
Again, just going back to what I feel like the Seahawks are in a weird period, and like that was their first loss in a bit, but I just don't completely trust them moving forward, and I kind of like Sam Howell. So
yeah,
that's that.
I feel it. Sunday night. God save us. New York Jets versus the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
New York Jets don't have a fucking offense. Raiders had a pretty nice bounce back game without Mr. McDaniel in charge. Do you think it'll continue?
I think it will. I think the Raiders will be interesting down the stretch. I don't know if they'll be in the playoff picture, but I think that now they don't have a fucking weirdo as their head coach, which they've had a long lineage of weirdos.
Yeah,
actually,
they have a big weirdo as the owner. So,
like, literally, like the only like non-weirdo, and I'm not even sure about this, but I feel like the only non-weirdo the Raiders have had as a head coach within like the last decade or so is Rich Bisaccia, who was the
even then in like only interim, like not
only interim, and
yeah.
that almost beat the Bengals in the playoffs.
Yep.
But like he did, but you have Jack Del Rio, who just like spouts January 6th shit on his Twitter. John Gruden, who's a fucking racist, and Josh McDaniels, who needs Bill Belichick to rock him to sleep at night. Like it's a messy.
I don't trust Mark Davis to run a football team. I think that's the lesson here.
Yeah, he's not his father, that's for sure.
No. I think they'll beat the Jets though.
Yeah, I forget if I picked the Raiders, but I did. I'm going to.
Yep. All right, I think it's your turn.
Yeah.
For Monday.
Yeah, no, I got lost in the Raiders head coach sauce. The Denver Broncos at the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, man, what the fuck is this primetime week?
It's not good.
It's really bad.
It's not. This is absolutely the worst primetime.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Broncos are coming off a bye. Their last game was their win against the Chiefs. The Bills are coming off of a loss to the Bengals. What do you think's going to happen here?
I think that if the Bills lose this game, it is a panic button. You hit the panic button.
Yeah.
That said, I don't think they're going to. I think they'll win.
I think they will as well. And unless the Broncos have figured it out,
no.
I don't think that's that. I think that it's more than likely that we get a nice Bills. Like, I think the Bills will look good on Monday. Not only will they win, they'll look good doing it.
Yeah.
But there you go. All right, long episode, but hey, that's what you get with the mid-season special. Next week, I think, barring a change of heart from me, we might start prep for VBBFL Season 4.
Ooh. That could be fun.
I don't... It's weird because I feel like last season went so well, that I feel like there's not much I want to change.
Yeah.
But, I definitely want to figure out next week, like, a theme for teams. And... Yeah, like, I don't know, like, it depends. Like things are obviously going to be much busier now with the fact that I'm now working full-time, as well.
I am entering concert season.
Yeah, I mean, we're, like, right, so, like, I mean, like, we're not going to be going hard on VBBFL stuff until probably at the earliest February. So we'll see how I feel by then. But like at the very least, we're gonna craft how this league would look, how the season would play out, or at least what the teams would be, and then we'll see how we can kind of get everything set up again. It's just I don't want to guarantee that there will be a VBBFL this year, just because things have definitely changed in terms of timing and stuff. So, but I still want to make the teams, because I think that process is at least very fun to do. So we'll do that. That'll be next week's mid-seg. We'll talk about what our future season will be for that. That'll be it. And that's the last episode before the Thanksgiving episode, huh?
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's nutty right there. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening. We hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next week.
Good night, and good ball.